Kia ora, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week, get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock. With news, US workers are back with incomes rising faster than inflation, and China is back with notable growth. But first up today, there was another dairy auction overnight, and that brought a surprise lift in prices. Not major, but unexpected. Prices rose 3.2% in US dollar terms and were up 4.9% in New Zealand dollar terms. This comes after a series of disappointing results interrupted by the occasional rise. It is hard to know whether this pattern is repeating or this marks a turning point up. The core whole milk powder price moved up only 1%, but butter was up 4.9% from the prior event, and cheddar cheese was up 5.7%, and skim milk powder was up 7%. Rising demand for food service uses in China was probably behind these shifts. Meanwhile, American retail is still weakening, up a mere 1.1% last week from the same week a year ago, and nowhere near enough of a gain to account for inflation. Perhaps Americans are becoming more thrifty. Median weekly earnings of full-time wage and salary workers were up 6.1% in the first quarter of 2023 compared with the same period a year ago. That's according to official US data. Inflation, however, during that time ran at 5.8%. And Canada didn't surprise with its March CPI inflation number coming in at the expected 4.3% level from a year ago, but that is its lowest there since mid-2021. Petrol prices fell, food prices rises slowed. And China's bounce out of its pandemic lockdown raised their GDP by 2.2% in the first quarter of 2023 from the last quarter of last year, and that was the rise analysts expected. However, from a year ago, their GDP is up 4.5%, which is more than the 4% expected. This was all driven by retail sales, which are up 10.6% with widespread revenge spending. And the latest RBA minutes in Australia show they are prepared to raise rates again, despite their recent pause, because they fear strong population growth and big public sector wage rises will push up inflation again. The pause was nervously agreed, these minutes show. Inflation is currently running at 7.8%. The policy rate is only 3.6%. And US Treasury 10-year yield starts today at 3.58%, and little change from this time yesterday. And the price of gold is now at $2,005, up $10 from yesterday. And oil prices at little change at just over $81 a barrel in the US, while the international Brent price is just under $85 a barrel. And the Kiwi dollar has moved up slightly against the US dollar, now at 62.1 US cents and 30 basis point gain. Against the Aussie, we're unchanged at 92.2 Australian cents. Against the euro, we're little changed to 56.6 euro cents. That all means our trade weighted index is now at 69.7 and up 20 basis points. Get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston. That was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.